So you have to wonder, is it possible that I am live and I have a new intro that I am going to whoop on you all? This is kind of like when I used to do the pre-recorded videos. And you have to wonder, are you missing me saying this? Let's dive into all of this right now.
We
And welcome.
we are
Go ahead,
missing
Fabio.
we are missing that right now. With that, I knew something was missing. I didn't know what it was.
I know. I feel like I haven't done that in how long because I'm always freaking going live. Every show is live now, live, live. Oh, well, you get the interaction. But I
Right.
was like, I'm kind of missing that whole right now. But hey,
That's the best.
I was hoping because when I'm doing that, I got to use the other freaking finger, and I got to press the video. So I was imagining that I was going to go right now, and nothing is going to freaking happen. I got to keep clicking the damn thing. You know what's going to happen,
Oh my god, that's great.
dude, man. Well, what's going on? I mean, it, look, everybody. It's the market show live, the market value chart show live. At my not my usual time, 6 p.m. Eastern, going earlier in the afternoon, just kind of hanging out. Just wanted to go with just, a couple of us. Victoria's going to join us a little bit later when she's able to, coming on later in the show. I love the big shows. I love the shows that it's just me. But sometimes you need a show where it's just two or three, baby. You know what I mean, Fabio?
Yeah, no, yeah, big shows are fun because you get everybody there together at the same time. But the little intimate shows I really enjoy too. It's more, like I said, more intimate, more personal. So either way, they're both fun.
Yeah, I think so. And welcome everybody who's in here a little bit early. Well, not really. I mean, sometimes I go early with the market value chart show on a Saturday. And you have to wonder, is it possible that you're going to get me live again tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern for Sunday Coffee with Aries? And I say yes. Now, I'll be going over, just like I have the last few weeks, all the stuff going on within the secondary market for Star Wars hot toys, which is really quite extensive. Last week it was great having Anthony from Six Scale Mafia in there. Look forward to having him back on that. But tomorrow I'll have Fabio right here, along with P Rock. We'll be going through some things and talking a little MMA. I think everybody enjoyed that. We got some MMA fights happening right now. Don't spoil it for me, anyone in there. Don't put anything in the chat because they're in Europe right now, or I think they're in the UK. I'll be watching it tonight. We'll be kind of fast forwarding all the commercials. But yeah, that's fun. I kind of like those type of shows. We just kind of sit around. I'm kind of like it, and this is kind of like the time of the day. I'm drinking some wizard juice, dude, but I still got the freaking coffee here that I'm still drinking. So kind of drinking it up. How are you feeling, my man? How's things going this week? Got the Hot Toys hat on. What's going
Yeah,
on?
no, everything's good, thank God. I posted a picture of my Iron Man Mark 85 battle damage. I finally received him. I haven't opened him yet. I don't know why, but I need to open him up. But no, everything else is great, thank God. How you doing? What's going on?
Doing good, just plowed along, so busy at work. I feel like the floodgates are now going to open. That we finally got that Clone Wars Ahsoka. I'm still buzzing over. I know Victoria can't wait later in the show to really share her thoughts on that. She was telling me, so we'll kind of hold off on reviewing that a little bit. But we got so much to talk about with her and so much to talk about when it comes to the regular market and what's upcoming for Star Wars Hot Toys. I'm feeling good. Let's say hi to some of the people in here, Fabs. We
Yep.
got Punisher XS in the house. Hi, Aries. I love your show. Well, thank you very much. Noble's in here saying yo to you, Fabio. Awesome. We have Chewy's Bandolier. I have some Krispy Kremes for Sunday coffee. I got some of those Tate's chocolate chip cookies too. They're real freaking good. I might bring them out.
Those Krispy Kremes are deadly. Oh my god, they're so good.
And you know what else? I like the Dunkin' Donuts too, especially when they're fresh, dude. I just love.
Yeah.
I love all that kind of crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, Krispy Kremes. Freaking the collector is in the house. Hit that like button. Thanks, my man. Good, always good to have the collector in here. Great supporter, as is everybody in here. Broderick loves the intro. I know, isn't that cool, baby? We keep evolving. When everyone tells me I can't exit the music, I have to keep the music. That music has evolved, but it's the same. It's the same theme music. So I don't know. I will keep that in there because it's kind of 6 scale Cantina. You know, we don't want to. It's like changing Star Wars theme music. We don't want that. It can evolve. The collector #1 in here. The Jedi Knights Watch. Also loving the new intro. Love the Jedi Knights Watch. Great channel. Make sure you subscribe to the Jedi Knights Watch. Going to have him on here real soon. We've already been talking. It's like the next 2 or 3 weeks or something like that. Looking forward to that. Make sure you all stay tuned for that. Lane is in the house. Aries, I think you are jumping baseball. You have to wonder, is it possible, Lane, that I have every single baseball team in my collection? You'll have to hold on to your hats to find that out. Louis Labitz is in the house. What's up, crew? Let me tell you something, brother. Oh, man, Fabio, did you see my live at Raw? As we're talking about everybody here, I think I blew my wad, dude. Like, like so bad. I don't know, man. I'm just kind of like, you know how you're just kind of like you wake up on a hangover, you're just like, yeah, dude. Man, I don't know, man. That was some show.
No, but
That
they're
was
always fun though. I watch it. They're always fun. You always have a lot of energy, and when you do the commentator stuff, like those that's the best part. That is
yeah.
to me, that is the best part of the show every time. Especially how you start like what's his name? Bruce Buffer.
I do a little Bruce Buffer. I did him that day, and I watched the replay, and I said, "Oh, I didn't do him too bad."
No, it's so fun. I love it. That's why I watch it because I know you're going to always do something.
Well, I try and do Joe Martinez too, which Joe Martinez when Bruce Buffer isn't there in the UFC, and Joe Martinez does the Invicta. He does so many other ones as well. He does the UFC one, so he's the one that goes, "Make some noise if you are ready." He's awesome at that.
Oh, he's great. What's his brother's name? Is it Michael Buffer? No.
Yeah, Michael Buffer is Bruce's brother, and
he's the boxing guy.
yeah.
I didn't know that until like maybe I want to say like 5 years ago, but I had no idea they were brothers. Can you imagine you both have the same exact job for 2 different companies?
Well, and you know what's funny? There's actually on UFC Fight Pass. I actually think it's on Netflix too, but I have UFC Fight Pass. But there's a documentary, and I think you can actually maybe see it on YouTube, where Bruce Buffer talks about the story between his brother, who does the boxing legend, Michael Buffer, versus him. Now he's a legend with the UFC. Do you know they didn't know about each other for years?
What do you mean?
They didn't know about each other. They didn't know that they existed and that they were.
So they're brothers, but they didn't know they were brothers?
They didn't know.
Oh, see, I don't know any of this.
Yeah, and it was real interesting. And then one reached out to the other. I think it was Bruce reached out to Michael, and it was like, hey, I have the same last name. I'm doing, and yeah, it's a real interesting story.
I gotta watch that because I never knew any of this. That's crazy.
It's crazy. And now obviously they're friends. They get together on the holidays and all that kind of good stuff. But it's really cool story to hear about the two brothers and how they met.
The crazy thing is they don't even look alike at all.
No, they don't. They don't.
It's like, Bruce Buffer looks Italian with the darker skin. Yeah. And Michael's like, he's white with the light eyes. Yeah. So they don't even look like they would be related with the same last name.
Well, and they don't even have the I don't think they have the same mother. I think they have the same father is what it is.
Oh, okay.
either that or vice versa, and
Yeah.
that it was just kind of it's a
I
real interesting story.
definitely gotta watch that because that sounds so cool.
Well, you know what else is cool? And I think that Michael Buffer collects other things, but Bruce Buffer is a collector, but he actually collects
Hot Toys?
suits.
Oh, I was gonna say, can you
Well,
imagine?
he always has. Do you notice he always has a different outfit on whenever
Yeah,
he does an event?
yes.
So he was going over that, and he's got like rooms, not just a room, where he has these walk-in closets, like you walked out a corridor, like you like yours, like you're in fucking J.C. Penney, or
Oh
and
my god.
yeah, it's
Wait,
crazy.
so he's made like a lot of money over the years with this?
Oh, I mean, how much you think they got to pay him to do that job, dude? I mean,
That's what I'm saying. How much can you possibly get paid for something like that? I mean, he's everywhere though. He's at the weigh-ins, he's everywhere.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think you get paid a lot of. I mean, for him to do what he generates excitement, right?
Right.
Like when you see Bruce Buffer, you're kind of like, okay, the show is on. We're getting ready. When he goes, ladies and gentlemen, we are
Yeah,
live.
yep. That's when you know it's about to get real. And the
Yeah,
best part, my most favorite part, it's like when you do it, when he goes, but he gets so intense with it.
yes.
And sometimes he loses his voice because he screams so loud. He's like, it's time. Like it's insane. That gets you like it's about to start. Like when he does that. It's so awesome.
Well, and you know what's funny when you talk to him? It's kind of like he's kind of like me. He really is that excited. He
Yeah.
got so damn excited at one event, and I forgot. I think it was UFC 170 or 180. I think it was an even number. He talks about it in this documentary where he was talking exactly about what you were saying, where he went, it's time, and he jumped up in the air, like brought his knees up, and time, and he freaking pulled out his back. And he couldn't move, and he's like walking real gingerly out.
I
Yeah.
No, because he gets really into that's the thing. That's what makes it so real that he is really intense and he really feels that. That scream comes from deep inside his soul every time. And
Yeah.
that's what makes it so authentic.
Yeah, and that's what I like about it, because I feel like that people that are at those fights, when they see Bruce Buffer do that, they feel like, hey, it's okay now, I can do that too, because they really are there to fucking lose their shit.
Mm-hmm.
They really are there to get into this event,
Yeah.
to really get into the competition, to get into the fights. And I think that's the same thing too. Like if I'm going to come on and it's a figure that everybody knows that I'm looking forward to, like this Ahsoka, and so many other Star Wars figures, like that freaking Luke Skywalker from the Mandalorian, the upcoming Luke Snowspeeder pilot. Dude, if it warrants it, I'm going to lose my crap on it, because I just literally can't wait for those particular figures. And I figured, you know what, just go on there and have some fun. And I think it kind of gets infectious. And yeah, so I
Well,
kind
I
of
watched, I watched your first impression and reaction to the Ahsoka when she came out.
mhm.
And I could tell how excited you were. You were like frozen in the pictures. You were like, "Oh my god!" Like I feel like you couldn't believe how good she. And it's true. She looked. Well, she looks amazing in all the pictures. My thing was the eyes. I was like, "Oh my god, the eyes, the eyes, the eyes." I knew something inside me said Hot Toys will never release a figure with those eyes, like from the booklet.
Yeah.
But you never know. You know what I mean? They released the Ant-Man with the teeth like that. So it's like, God, like that's what scares you, that they've done something like Ant-Man before. So I was like, oh man, the eyes, the eyes. But she looks great. I have zero complaints, and I can't wait for them to ship mine. It still says preparing to ship, so I don't know when it's going out, but hopefully soon.
Yeah, I was real worried about that too. You saw that we had how many shows where we were showing that instruction manual. And some people didn't want us to do that, but you had to. They've had some mishaps before. So it was just news. I mean, we had to talk about it because they're the ones that put it out. I didn't publish that manual. You didn't publish that manual.
Absolutely not. I would
Yeah.
not. I wouldn't know
Yeah,
where to
yeah.
get it, manual.
So we were kind of all crossing our fingers that it was just a falsity.
But can you
But
imagine, like who, like where did that come from then? You know what I mean? Like who had that?
You know what's interesting? And I heard a lot of comments, and I get it. Comments that were basically like, when we're talking about this, who gives a crap? It's an instruction manual. So they don't give a crap. It's an instruction manual. But we've been talking about all the positivity of this figure. I did, of course, we'll talk about that more when Victoria comes on, get her thoughts. She was spilling her coffee all over with that. But it does make you wonder. I feel like from a business perspective, they have to button it up. Like we're talking about Bruce Buffer and Michael Buffer. They're very buttoned up. They got the perfect suit. They got the tie. They got the hair all perfect. They got the microphone all ready. Everything's perfect for their presentation. I feel like those little tiny things, like, can you imagine if they would have put those images, Fabio, that we're spilling our coffee? Like were you saying, I was paused this week. I paused on every picture because I only looked at a few and I was like, okay, this is great. Fuck it. I can't wait to go live. I was just like, okay, phenomenal. And then I'm looking at these. Could you imagine if they would have put those photos in the manual? It would have been a complete 180 different story
Oh,
leading up to it, right?
absolutely, absolutely. Everybody's reaction would have been like, "Oh, like we were already really desperate for it to come out already because of the delays. If we would have seen that from the beginning, it would have been even more of an uproar, I believe, because people would have been like, hurry up and give us Ahsoka already." But she looks like a young version of Rosario Dawson. You know what I mean? Like she looks like it would be like a younger, even though she's not supposed to. There's a hint of her in there.
Yeah. There really is a hint of her in there. People were bringing that up to me. And the thing that was real interesting about it, honestly, I mean, and it doesn't look. It does look like her a little bit, a lot of bit, but it looks so lifelike, dude.
Yeah.
Like this doesn't look like a toy,
Right.
does
And
it?
look, if you not at all, and like I said, look right that picture specifically. Look at her face and tell me you don't see a hint of Rosario in there. 100% you do.
Yeah, yeah, you do. It's a really really good point. I think it's subtle, and I think that's what you're
Very
saying,
subtle.
right? It's subtly there, but it's there.
Exactly. It's not a direct like you got to look for it, but it's there 100%.
Yeah, I- and welcome everybody in here. Welcome to the Market Chart Show. Me and Fabio, Victoria will join us a little bit. We'll talk a little bit about this. We got some stuff to talk about in here, and pulling up. P Rock is in the house with the what? Thank God it's Friday comment. and the P Rockzilla, I think will be joining us tomorrow, Fabio. We'll talk some MMA. We'll talk more, Bruce Buffer.
You better be there.
Yeah, tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. I think P Rock's going to anyway. He'll let us know in the chat, and that'll be fun tomorrow. We'll do morning Sunday coffee with Aries, go over a lot of the market stuff, mix in some MMA. It'll be a lot of fun. P Rock with the LM. Bob Dylan is in the house. What is going on, Bob? The collector is in here. Loco Lou. What you gonna do when Loco Lou runs wild on you? Come on. Fabio, I wonder, is the Hot Toys Wizard gonna take on the likeness of Loco Lou again? I don't know, man. I mean, I don't know. The Hot Toys Wizard, he must have been really feeling it when he took on Loco Lou. He's probably ready for take his vitamins, drink his milk, another Hulkster moment. Single songwriter in the house. Good to have you in here, my friend. Punisher XS is in here as well. And Lane says, "Hey, Aries, someone is selling their Han A New Hope for $430 in shipping and secondary market value." That's awesome. Alberta Crude is in the house. Louis Labitz, what did he say here? Aries, you have to keep the Mad Dog spot. All right. Do you know Mad Dog? Because I know, but do you know Mad Dog Radio at all? Freaking Fabio.
No, not at all. No.
All right. So I think you're talking about their Mad Dog Radio. You're talking about Chris Russo. Used to be in New York with what's his freaking name there? Used to be Mike and the Mad Dog. Good afternoon, everybody. Does he still do that? Let me know, Lewis. I haven't listened to Chris Russo forever. Oh my God. Riley is in the house. Paul Morales says, hit the like button. Yeah, come on, baby. Let's hit it. Let's hit it. Come on. Thank you so much. And roll. Hi, Aries, you rock. Well, so do you, Mandalorians rule. And Mandalorians do rule. Doc is in the house.
That's a cool name, Mandalorian's Rule.
Yeah, that is cool. I mean, we have some really cool names lately, like that one, Mandalorian's Rule. Good to have Doc in here. Fat Batman. I love the Fat Batman.
Fat Batman's a funny one.
There was one of there. Isn't there one? My balls hurt or something, or something.
My balls itch.
Yeah, my goodness gracious. We're gonna talk. Yeah, but again, there is a hint of Rosario in here,
100%.
and yeah, we got. So let's talk about this part of it before we dissect more into what we actually think about it. I'm gonna pull this banner up. Clone Wars Hot Toys Ahsoka Market Watch. So let's kind of open this up, Fabio, and let's talk a little bit here. I'm gonna pull this up. I don't know if it means anything. It means something. It means not. Pulling up this website, Toys Wonderland, sold out. Add to wish list. I'm sure you can get it on some other sites. Close to $400. I'm not. Well, I'll just stop there. I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked that people want this figure badly. Are you?
That's why I got 3 right off the bat, because this is going to go super, super fast. There are obviously more Clone War fans than there are, Mandalorian fans. If you want to go, obviously Clone Wars is from obviously before the Mandalorian. So I feel like that hype's been going on for many years already. So the fact that they knew whoever found out about this figure, that they were making it, they're jumping on this, very quickly. As you said, they're sold out overseas already for a reason. We know that Star Wars is not huge overseas, especially, China really. So the fact that it sold out over there that quickly, that says something about the figure. So once it gets here, if you're planning on getting her as soon as possible, because it'll run out very quickly. Another thing, you guys, some may realize, some may not. Female figures, doesn't matter if you're the main character or not, female figures are never made as much as any male figure, and I mean quantities. Again, doesn't matter who it is. It could be, like, for example, Ahsoka could be the main character of every single Star Wars figure. They will never make as many of her as they would any male figure. Why? Culturally and just society, the society makes you think that nobody's really going to buy female toys, female figures. So they'll make them, but the quantities are not there at all. And that goes for every single female figure. So
it happened back with Kenner, with the original Star Wars vintage figures. The Leias were so much more hard to get because a lot of the kids, I mean, it's just like you said, it's just kind of like in the data, whether it's correct or not. They don't make, like, how many freaking kids back in the 70s and 80s went to go buy the white Princess Leia? Everybody wanted the freaking Darth Vader, the R2. They didn't want that figure. Correct. They made it, but in low quantities.
And that's my point. So if you pay attention to any figures out right now, go look at the female figures that have been sold out and see the difference between a sold out figure of a female and then a sold out figure of a male. The male is always going to be a little bit more expensive because it's the more wanted, but the females are very, very high up there as well because of the rarity of it. Not because of the demand, but the rarity. They don't make as many females, period, just in general. That's just how it is. Because they know that, usually when somebody's buying a toy, it's usually men. I'm not saying women don't, but it's usually men. Men are usually going to go for the guys, the male characters, not the females. A smart collector will always go for the female because they know what the value will be. And that the rarity will be there. Somebody who is, collecting just for the rarity of it should have every single female that they've ever made in their collection. You know what I mean? So just because of numbers, that's just strictly straight numbers. that they don't make as much as they do any male character, and you could find that out anywhere. You know what I mean? Female characters always sell out way quicker than male characters because they make more of the male.
That's a really, really good point, and we're going to continue with that, Fabio, right off on that. Already 70 in here, baby. Listen, you are watching the Market Show live. I am the Dark Jedi, Aries Tarrington, and I'm serving up all the Ahsoka and Hot Toys, all the other Star Wars talk. Along with Fabio, we're going to have Victoria from Victoria's Cantina join us a little bit later in the show. So please go ahead and smash that like button. And it looks like that Doc says, a wizard is never late nor early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Oh, man.
But then Bob Dylan says, somebody reach out to SpongeBob SquareBalls. Yeah, that's the guy I was thinking about. That's the name. That's an awesome name, SpongeBob SquareBalls. Come on.
I've never seen that in the chat, that name. That's so funny.
Yeah, it is definitely so funny. But yeah, no, that's a really interesting point, because when you look at when you compare like the Kylo Ren from the Rise of Skywalker to the Rey sold out way quicker. The Kylo's still available, although that will go very shortly.
Yep.
And they didn't make that many of that. But I was calling from the very beginning. I was saying, listen, they're not going to make many of those Reys. But I think it's also the same case too. It's not just with her. I don't think they make a lot of the Jyn Erso. They don't make a lot of any of the Leias. They don't make a lot of any of them right now.
You're right. It's all the females, period. It just in general. It's always been that way. So that's why, like you said, finding a Leia, an old school Leia of any specific anything will be harder than finding a male for that line, period. Because again, they just never make enough females because of that. Because it's just, I feel like they know, or they feel like they're not going to sell as many because of the female aspect of the figure.
Well, speaking of females, is it possible that Victoria from Victoria's Cantina has stepped into the cantina? And I say, yes. Victoria, how are you?
Hello, Aries. How's it going? Fabio, good to see you as well. Great to be here. Thanks for having me on to talk a little Ahsoka. I'm super excited about this figure, and I know all of you guys are too. Aries, I've been watching your live streams the last few nights, and you're pumped, man. You're pumped for this figure, so I'm feeling it too.
Yeah, I am telling you, I am super pumped about this. Fabio and I were just talking about it and about my show I had earlier in the week, Live and Raw, where I had to go live just, what was it, like 10 hours, whenever it was, whenever I could do it that day after it came out in the middle of the night. I went live, and yeah, we're going to go back to this because, Victoria, I definitely want to get your thoughts on what Fabio and I were talking about here. We're talking about some market stuff, but we were kind of holding off on this figure, on talking about our impressions. We talked about it a little bit, and let me just set the table with this and put her up on the screen, and I can flash some of these images. Fabio and I were just talking about how I agree with him. He was suggesting that this right here has a little bit of, and let me pull this banner off so we even get more room to see. There we go. It has a little bit of likeness to Rosario. And actually, I was kind of feeling the same thing too. I think it was very, I don't think it is Rosario, but I think that they have some subtleties in there. But man, it looks so lifelike, and it looks so much like Ahsoka and what I would expect from, I don't know, man. I think my thoughts. Let me just get your general thoughts, Victoria. I've been waiting. What do you think of her?
She's beautiful. I mean, I know there was a little concern for a little while with the delays and the instruction manual and all that, but I mean, this looks killer. This is going to be one of the hottest hot toys, no pun intended, of all time. I think it's going to perform very well. And anybody that's been waiting, all this time, making those payments, anyone that paid it off early, isn't going to be disappointed here. I mean, she just looks outstanding. Very lifelike, no dead stare. It's totally there. Like, this is a perfect translation of animated Ahsoka from the Clone Wars brought to realism. And I highly appreciate all the details and just how amazing she looks. I'm stoked. I seldom ever get two of any figure unless it's a trooper. But this, I'm kind of thinking, maybe I need a second one just in case, that excuse that collectors have, just in case. So yeah, she's astounding. I'm pumped. I cannot wait until Sideshow finally ships her out and she's here in my case. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that you bring that up, Victoria, about getting two. And Fabio, I'll go to you with what she said, but I was kind of thinking the same way. Like when I was doing it, I was giving my first reactions, and people were saying, "Aries, you're gonna get 10." I'm like, no, no, no. But I'm like, what Victoria said here, Fabio. I know we were kind of opening up, and we waited to come back into it. She looks lifelike. Like this looks like don't mess with me. We're talking about MMA earlier. We're talking about Bruce Buffer. It looks like she's on the other side of the cage, and it's like you're dead, you're gone. And then when you look at some of these other images, though, and that one's like right here, it's like strike a pose. So it's almost like, hey, I'm there. I'm kind of striking a pose, or I'm looking, right at you, and let me just go to a couple of these other ones I want to go to here to kind of set up my point. These are so good. I want to go back to them. Look at it's kind of like, oh, are you okay? Come on, R2. You can kind of set it up this way. She's not looking like R2. I'm going to kick your ass right here. I mean, she's able to switch it up. And then honestly, like I'm going to this one here because I've talked about it. This one, it's kind of like we're at a nightclub, and it's kind of like I'm going to go up and ask her if she wants to dance. There's so many different expressions. It's kind of like she's hanging out. And I was thinking to myself, Fabio, I'm like, should I actually, for the first time, really get two? Because I'm being serious with this. I'm seriously thinking about, like Victoria said, because my whole thing is, I recently gotten, the DX07. And because I can have the look of the bloody arm and the look of all the blood and the scarring and the wear and tear on Luke, I have a legitimate place in my collection to put that mood versus the other part of the DX07, which is another figure, which is clean Luke, which could be either back at Dagobah or it can be as soon as he comes into Cloud City and he's going around with his gun. So you have to wonder. I'm thinking with the many different moods that you could do with this one figure. I'm like, I can have her in one display case with some clones, and then in another one where she has a different look, like maybe a mean, I'm fighting look, and then one where she's like that R2 picture was a perfect example. Do you feel like that's just a lot of hype and we like it, or I like it, Victoria, or do you feel like that there's something there where people might get two of these because of that? I mean, this thing is so versatile.
Yeah, it's super versatile. And I think for me, it'd be more of a thing where, and I do this with the Hasbro figures routinely because they're not expensive. But if I love a figure, I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy a backup because just in case I lose an accessory or something happens to it, it falls off the shelf, it scuffs paint, I'll buy an extra. I'm kind of feeling it for this Ahsoka too, because it's just astoundingly good. And I don't anticipate that it's going to fall off a shelf or that I'm going to lose anything. But it's just kind of one of those things. I'd kind of like to have a backup just to stash, just in case, one day I'll ever need something from it. So I'm considering it. I don't know if I'm actually going to do it, but again, I never do this unless it's with troopers.
Yeah, and Fabio, going to you on that, on what Victoria just said there, on what we're talking about. Like, I'm seriously considering getting two of them just because of the different moods. I'm like the DXL7, Fabio.
Well, so I ordered three. That's just like something that I do just in general. But I ordered three specifically because I want to display her the one way with the two swords, then the other one with the cloak on. So that's the only reason why. That's why I wanted two of her for myself and just keep a spare, just in case. But that's for me, I always have to get at least two to be able to display if they come with different looks. So I had to get three of her.
Yeah, wow. I'm seriously thinking about it. I mean, obviously, I repose my figures. I have some of them in the museum. I'm probably most of them with the Hot Toys in a museum type of pose. But this figure here, I'm imagining a couple of different things, like just getting that DX07 recently. And so blessed to be able to have that figure. It's great being able to have the two different versions. You have Luke Bespin worn out, bloody, and you got the Luke Bespin all ready to go fight Vader. Let's go. And I feel like with this Ahsoka, man, it's it's just so good, and bringing it back up over here, all the different
And that's
like
that's the thing that, there's
look at
so many
that, yeah,
different ways to display her that, like, getting just one, it's kind of like, I feel like it's kind of like a waste, you know what I mean? Like, because there's so much you could do with the figure that only one is it's not going to be enough for what you would want to do with the figure. So that's why I got the two.
yeah. It's really really, man. I mean, it's so lifelike. And here's the thing I want to ask both of you guys as we're continuing to talk about this figure. And Victoria, I'm guessing from the hearing your expression, and of course, communicating with you prior to this show, I know you wanted to definitely come on and talk about this. I guess you spilled your coffee with this release. And here's the thing, Victoria. And I talked about this earlier in the week. And whether there's a this was the reason for it or not, I feel like it's something we need to discuss. If I would have been told, if Howard Chan would have called me, Fabio, and called me, Victoria, and told me, "Hey, Aries, I got bad news. Ahsoka's not going to come out till 2023." What? You're kidding me. So nice to meet you, Howard, but how can you do this? How can this not come out? And like, hold on, Aries. I want to show you something from the Hot Toys Wizard. And then he starts showing me these pictures. And Fabio, you saw me do it live. I would have been like, and I swear, you could take the 2024, Howard, if you're going to give it to me that looks like this. Holy crap. So, one of the things I wanted to remind a lot of people in this, and I have to remind myself, Victoria, is I want everything now, 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 now. I want it quick. I want it now. Oh, with a hot toy, we got to wait so long. Sideshow makes it so much quicker. Look how fast we get Sideshow figures. Look how fast we got the Grievous. Look how fast we get this. Look how fast we got that. Look, Hot Toys is a speciality. Well, I feel like, Victoria, when we start making it not, when we start rushing these Hot Toys, it becomes less special. Do you know that I felt like they rushed that armor, Victoria? They rushed the armor, which is a great figure, and I give it a 9 out of 10. I still don't have it. I can't get over the two Phillips head screws that are visible on the back of both shoes, and the fact that it's single jointed. It's still the best armor on the market. No one could do it better than Hot Toys, but I don't want to spend $245 freaking dollars on a rush job. And if they would have rushed this with the bug eyes that were in the manual or whatnot that Fabio and I were just talking about, I would have been really upset. I don't want it fast. Do you feel like we need to sometimes check ourselves like, hey, if we're going to get quality of Hot Toys, we're going to have to get used to waiting? What do you think about this?
Well, as they say, it's not the destination, it's the journey. What is it going to take to get you that perfect figure? Sometimes it's going to be time. Sometimes it's going to be Hot Toys going back to the drawing board and making adjustments, especially when people are very, we're all very critical, right? But some people are extraordinarily so. And, we want to, if you're paying this much money for a figure, you want it to be as best as possible, as best as can be, without having to wait for the 2.0 version or the next one that's going to be coming out later. And I don't mind waiting. If they're going to do anything like this that looks like Ahsoka, that looks like the Cascarees we talked about a few weeks ago, that looks like, some of these stellar figures that have been released in the last year to 2 years, then, I'm good with waiting. I think, but you're right. We do need to kind of check ourselves sometime and be patient because, when these new shows come out, like the Mandalorian, the Book of Boba Fett, we're like, I want that. I want this. I want this. I want that. And it'd be nice to have all of that right away. But at the same time, we have this time that we can speculate and talk and have fun and, make room for it on the shelf and everything. And yeah, I think good things come to those who wait, as they say. So this is an
Mhm.
example of, if you're patient And it's something that you want Hot Toys to absolutely nail. You don't want them to botch Ahsoka, not season 7 Ahsoka especially. Then patience is a virtue.
Yeah, I think that would have crushed them.
But that could also go. No, I was gonna say, but that could also go the other way. You know what I mean? We could wait for something and come out like Ant-Man, like we were talking about earlier.
No.
So that's a scary thing about Hot Toys. We could sit back and wait, and hope for the best, but it could go either way. And I feel like that's what scares most people. It's that we've gotten figures released to buy like Ant-Man with those teeth that nobody was happy about. So that's the scare for me, at least. That's the scary part of when they start delaying things. It's like, why are they delaying? What are they changing? What's happening? What are they messing up or fixing? That's how that's my thought process when that happens.
Yeah, and go a little bit more at that Ant-Man. And thank you so much, Superhero Displays, putting up a couple of super chats over here. Thank you so much. First putting up, hail, Knights of the Display Case. Come on. Yeah, we got some pretty good display cases, especially that guy, Fabio Land over there with come on, you gotta sell tickets, baby. Come on. And then he puts up that intro is money. Yeah, I'm glad you like that new intro. I really enjoyed that Superhero Displays. Thank you so much. Appreciate the super chat and the support, my brother. But yeah, Fabio, talk about that, because that's an interesting point too, because this did give me, looking at this Ahsoka, for me personally, it gave me pause to be like, look, oh, thank goodness they nailed this. And I actually think this is better. This is better than what we saw at the prototype, even if it was because I'm just getting so many more pictures and I'm seeing all the different moods I could put her in. I really didn't get that impression from the prototype picture, as good as it was, that I was going to be able to have all these different moods, ambiances, different ways to display her, where I'm considering two figures. That being said, Ant-Man's a good example. We waited a while, and they take long. So I think it's interesting. I mean, I feel like, though, I don't know. What is your opinion? Did they just goof up on Ant-Man? Did they just goof up, drop the ball on Tony Stank? And when it comes to like something like this, it was delayed. Obviously, they nailed it. I don't know, but I do think quality over time is worth the wait if they can nail it.
Well, to me, the Tony Stank, wasn't bad for me. I didn't, I bought, I believe I have about between 4 to 6 of those figures still sealed. I opened 2. I got the rest sealed. I didn't bother me at all. I didn't get the exchange head sculpt at all, because at the end of the day, like, my collector mentality is, for example, let's say this Tony Stank head sculpt, it disappears, right? Then it'll never be remade ever again by anybody. I have the original. I have what was made that belongs to that figure. I didn't get a replacement piece that wasn't part of that figure. So let's say for whatever reason, Hot Toys goes out of business. Now these figures will be worth that much more money, right? So if I have a figure that's supposed to be original, but now it's not because I swapped out the head sculpt, there's money gone out of that figure. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So, same thing with when it comes to cars. Like I've talked about this before. The Delorean. Why are people still looking for the original Delorean? Because any remakes are not the same, are never the original. So that'll lose, that'll lose value if they're talking about reissuing, redoing, remaking the Delorean. It's not going to be the first release. So who's going to be worth more at this point? The first release will always be worth more. Another example, they just released pictures of the announcement of Gilgamesh. Nobody's talking about Gilgamesh because the movie didn't do well. A lot of people didn't like the movie. The head sculpt is flawless.
It's money.
That figure is perfect. Yeah. Nobody's saying a word about how beautiful that head sculpt is. So because there's no hype behind it, nobody really cares about it. But the work is there. That figure looks amazing.
It does.
Nobody cares about it at all. If you compare these two head sculpts, obviously you can't, but let's just do a comparison. The Gilgamesh head has 1,000% more detail than this head does altogether. You know what I mean?
Of course, yep.
And I understand why, because they're supposed to be from a comic and blah blah blah. I get all that. That's why I'm not trying to directly compare them, but that figure is beautiful. So and they didn't have to tease you with let's blur it out until we work on it. Right off the bat, they give you what it is, and it was perfect.
Boom.
So Hot Toys is capable of giving us really, really well done figures, really well done parts, really well done head sculpts, everything. If they really feel like they want to. I don't know if it's because of the artist who does the head. I don't know why,
Or rushing it.
Yeah, the figures vary in quality and how they look, but when we get good stuff, we get really good stuff, and when we don't, we don't.
Well, and here's an interesting thing, Fabio and Victoria. I really feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, if they didn't have to get that armor out as quick as they did because it was a COD exclusive, we never would have had. That's the only Star Wars hot toy I know of that has screws that are visible on the bottom of the boots. We just wouldn't have got that. It was just because, hey, we got to get this out. We're running out of time. Get that out. So I would rather them take the time. Personally, I'd even would rather them not blur out like they've done before on some of these, like the Green Goblin. I'd rather them just wait. There's no reason. I mean, Green Goblin is going to be, and I'm a Star Wars guy. I know Victoria, you're Star Wars as well, but I think we all know Spider-Man, the Green Goblin. They don't have to rush to get that out to because people aren't going to buy that. Come on. So I feel like let's get the quality there. And for this, they couldn't fail on this, Victoria, because this broke the internet. When they announced this, people were losing their minds, especially the fact that they were going to be able to get a Hot Toys. I mean, for me, it's still soaking in. We actually have a Hot Toys Rex, and now we have a Hot Toys Ahsoka. We got Rex and Ahsoka with Hot Toys. I can't even imagine if they would have muffed this up like the Grievous was muffed up by you know who. But go ahead, Victoria.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the great thing about Ahsoka too is that she spans across the whole fandom. Her popularity, she's a favorite of many people, both young and old, and she just has like really cross appeal. And I think that this is going to do well because people that don't normally buy Hot Toys are probably going to see this and want it. And I've seen this with Ahsoka merchandise just in general, regardless of who puts it out. It tends to do very, very well. So I think that this may even go faster than if it was just, Hot Toys fans talking about how amazing she is and how badly they want her. I think this is going to also bring in other people into the hobby, which is a good thing because you want people to keep buying these things for as long as possible, and you want them to keep making them for as long as possible. And to do that, you need more people coming in and buying them. And I just think we're going to see quite a few people wanting this figure. I know of a couple personally. They're like, Victoria, this is my first Hot Toys. I've never bought one, but it's Ahsoka, and I love Ahsoka, so I'm going to get her. And I think we're going to see more of that across the board. And I think that's one of the really exciting things about this release.
Yeah, and I want to put this other banner. We'll get to go back to this topic and go into some of the other topics I got queued up. So speaking about that, the market watch for this Clone Wars Ahsoka that came out. And look, there's many different scenarios. There's a few different paths that this figure can go down. One of the things I want to ask both of you, and Fabio, I'll start with you on this one. I don't see any scenario where this particular, because of Disney and because of what them signing Rosario Dawson, I don't see a scenario where they reissue this figure or use this exact head sculpt again for another figure. I feel like we're going to get a lot of Rosario Dawson. I feel like we're going to get flashbacks because until Disney proves to me, whether it's Deborah Chow, Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, that they're going to actually make a show where they don't flash back, until they prove to me they won't do it. It looks like they're going to flash back on Ahsoka because they've done it with everybody with that series. I just think we get a different head sculpt. So for me, I feel like this is the OG, like the OG Mando. I don't have to confuse it with that, but I feel like this one's going to be a little extra special because I feel like no matter when it sells out, whether it's going to be in 3 months or 6 months, this one's going to be gone. When it's gone forever.
Well, realistically, there's no reason why they should reissue this figure at all. We're noticing that Hot Toys is not really doing reissues anyway. They're doing 2.0. So if for whatever reason they decide to reissue this, it's not going to be the same head sculpt at all, even though, it's got the purse system in there already, which, I don't, again, that makes it even more obvious that they're not going to reissue this. I feel like they gave us the rolling eyes for that reason. It's an epic figure. It's an epic character. Let's give them, a DX quality, Ahsoka, but not give them a full DX, because I feel like they were saving the DX for the Mandalorian Ahsoka. That's what we're going to keep getting more of. That DX is going to be a Grail 1,000%. But anytime that there's again, my opinion, the fact that, that's the real life, Rosario Dawson, character, anything that she's out in, they're going to keep using that same, not the same head, but I feel like if they're going to use, between this one and that one, it's going to be that one. Obviously, yeah, they're going to tweak whatever they need to tweak on the figure, but it's going to be that over this, from now on. Again, we don't know what Hot Toys is going to do with this figure. We don't know what their schedules are. We don't know why they reissue what they reissue. So we never know, but realistically, this should never be reissued, ever again.
Yeah, that's a great point, Fabio. And Victoria, before we go to you, Superhero Displays actually says that the 449 bomb, quoting Victoria's Cantina, it's not the destination, it's the journey, challenging your inner Ahsoka. Thank you so much, Superhero Displays, for that 449 super chat. And yeah, I mean, going to you, Victoria, on this. I mean, honestly, I feel that the way Hot Toys is moving, I like to follow trends. Everybody knows that watches Tick Scale Cantina knows that I like to follow trends. Trends don't always point like it's exact truth. Numbers don't always point that it's going to be. That's why there's a Vegas line. That's why you bet. That's why you play the games. But until they show me something different, they're using Hayden Christensen for Clone Wars figures. That's what they're using, his likeness. They're using Ewan McGregor for Obi-Wan for the Clone Wars figures. They're using Tamora Morrison for the Clone Wars figures. They're using Ray Park for the Darth Maul. So I just don't see them putting this one out again, to Fabio's point as well. And I think that this is going to be extra special. It's kind of like that one and done, especially for a company. And you collect so many things like Fabio, even outside of Hot Toys, especially for something as coveted as Hot Toys. This is a hot release and probably going to be hot in the years to come.
Totally. I don't think they're going to bring this one back. I think this is going to be one of those things that, you have to be, I mean, you could always go to eBay later and get it, of course, but unless you're in this moment, into Hot Toys, into Ahsoka Tano, into the Clone Wars, it's going to be unlikely that you're going to have very good access to this. You're gonna have to pay a lot of money, and as you know, Aries, because of all the data you collect and put together, there's going to be a day, 2, 3, 4 years from now where this is a Grail, and you're going to have to spend $800 to get it. And I think we'll get to that point eventually. We never know, like Fabio was saying, how many they're going to make, what the re-releases look like. They could do another run of it in a year. I mean, you just never really know. But I think chances are that this is going to be a Grail, and I think that anybody who is collecting these right now, it's very obvious just from looking at it. It's obvious because of who it is, because of the source material. Clone Wars does well across the board in terms of action figures, in terms of whatever company it is that's making Clone Wars stuff. And no, it's a really good point. It's if you want Ahsoka, if you want Clone Wars Ahsoka, and you don't want the Rosario Dawson version that's coming later, and probably going to be coming out for her own Ahsoka show later on. This is the time to get it. So, hugely important that nobody sleep on this and end up missing out.
Yeah, and here's a really interesting comment. I totally agree with both your comments there. I think you're both hitting it on the head. And from JC Fabio, he asks, do you think Mandalorian Ahsoka release will affect the Clone Wars Ahsoka sales? I do have some thoughts on this, but Fabio, what is your first reaction to this question?
I mean, I don't think directly. I don't think so. I mean, it may, in the sense of, for example, if you're going to get this Ahsoka, you're going to get this Ahsoka because you're a fan of the show already. So there's no getting you out of this. just because you're getting this one though doesn't mean you're getting the one from the Mandalorian at all. You know, whoever's getting this doesn't necessarily mean they're getting the other one. What the other one can do though is, if you're set on the DX, the appeal of this one can make you go, well, this one looks, you know, if you're not a fan, I'm just saying, oh, this one looks cool. Maybe if I get this one to display them together. So that may happen, but I don't think that the other one is going to affect this one at all. And I feel like this one is going to do a lot better than the DX. I think people are going to get the DX because of the fact that it's a DX. But, you know, and we don't get DXs, you know, constantly all the time. So anytime there's a DX, I feel like people, you know, jump on it because of the fact that it's a DX. But I don't think that figure is going to affect this at all. If anything, the hype of this figure will help the sales of the DX because of the name Ahsoka. But I don't think the other way around. I don't think the DX is going to affect this one at all.
Yeah, Victoria, what's your thoughts on that? Following up what Fabio said.
I think the question should be, will the Clone Wars Ahsoka affect the release of the Mando Ahsoka? I think this is going to be the more popular release. I think that anybody that collects these knows full well that there's going to be yet another Rosario Dawson figure at some point for the Ahsoka show. And, you know, that might even top what we're seeing with the Mando one in terms of the photos we've seen for the prototype. I would, I'd be asking the opposite thing. I think that this is going to by far outsell that other one. Just a hunch. But no, don't miss this one because, you know, I don't think they're going to come back to this likeness ever again. Anything Clone Wars, like you said, Aries follows the actors' likeness from live action. And now that we have an Ahsoka live action, I think that's what we should be expecting from here on out.
Yeah, no, both of you make great points, and I think that you're both hitting it where it's probably going to go. So, JC, you know, when you're saying here, do you think more Mando or Ahsoka release will affect Clone Wars Ahsoka sales? I actually agree with both Fabio and Victoria. I think the question really is, could this improve or affect the Mando Ahsoka? I don't think it affects this one way or the other, because I think that this one is the one we've been waiting for. This was the one that broke the internet, but all fairness to the other one, it broke the internet as well. And we're going to get into that here in a second. It did. It really, really did. And I think it's because Ahsoka, we were waiting so long, guys, for Ahsoka to come to Hot Toys. But you have to wonder, Victoria and Fabio and everyone in the chat, how long were we also waiting and praying for Ahsoka to come to live action? And thanks to Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, they did that. And that brings me up to the next topic revolved around here. Clone Wars Ahsoka versus DX Ahsoka, which is the one coming out, Grail Possibilities. Now, I think I heard from both of you already that you both think that this Clone Wars Ahsoka is already a Grail. My question to you guys are, and Fabio, I'll start with you on this one first. Will the DX Ahsoka also have the possibility of being a Grail? Here's the reason why the question is interesting. I'm not convinced. The Dark Jedi is not convinced that every Ahsoka coming out from the shows is going to be a DX. DX is special. It could be. Seems like almost every Darth Maul is a DX. But I'm guessing that it won't be. Under that view, and the fact that we're obviously going to get an Ahsoka from the Ahsoka series, because they're putting one out from the Mandalorian, what are the possibilities that this DX Ahsoka, now we're talking about how you think the Clone Wars Ahsoka can maybe promote the DX one. Victoria, you're bringing up how we could maybe hurt it, but I don't think either of you is saying that the DX Ahsoka is going to hurt the Clone Wars one. So the point is what could be the scope for the DX Ahsoka? Is it a Grail or is it just available like a Space Trooper? Fabio, what do you think?
Well, like I said, I feel like every DX to this point is a Grail, period. Just all of them. So anytime there's a DX, it'll be a Grail because again, they're limited. They're not, they're not overproduced. Once they're gone, they're gone. And I'm talking about me coming from, the years of collecting that, what I see of the DXs. Maybe at this point, they're making that much more. I don't really know, but the DXs will always be the top, top of the line, series for Hot Toys. It comes with literally everything and anything they could possibly give you in a figure. So that's why you get that price range or that price point. But to me, because again, it's a Mandalorian, Star Wars, it's a brand new, figure. It's not anything that we've seen before, besides this, which is not the same at all. That is good. And then, like we talked about earlier, it's a female. Forget it. That is 100% Grail. They're not going to make as many because, again, it's a female. So you better believe that DX is going to be a Grail 1,000%.
Yeah, and that was a good point you brought up earlier. And Victoria, I didn't know your thoughts, and we were talking about it. I know from collecting other series that I think it's just the data that they use. I remember growing up that they didn't make very many of the Princess Leia for the Ketters because everybody wanted Darth Vader or R2D2, or the people that were playing with toys back then were not getting that. There certainly does seem to be like the trend with that. And Fabio, I think he also brings up an interesting point that they usually don't. Of course, it could change, like he said. They usually don't produce as many DX. DX is a little bit more special as they do the regular version. And that one is going to be the first one of Rosario Dawson, obviously. She's starring in her own series. She's obviously in other shows. I would venture to think we're probably going to get a lot more Ahsoka Tano, at least a couple. But again, I'm not convinced that we'll have a DX one. So I don't know. I mean, I can't. I'm just as excited to get that one as this one. For me, I gotta get them both. But I believe that this one we're looking at right here, Victoria, is a Grail. Is it possible that the DX one coming out later this year could be one as well? What say you?
It's probably quite likely. For the reasons Fabio was saying, DXs are always tremendously popular. If anybody comes into the hobby later, they always try and go for the DX, and of course, that's usually the one that's more expensive. I always suggest going with the DX because if you look at the price differences, a lot of the time it's not even like a huge difference. Like I was thinking like Han Solo from Solo, just it was like what, $20 to get the DX and get the extra accessories. Same thing with like Maul, unless you're getting the one that came with the his little speeder. Just getting the deluxe Maul is probably the way to go. And I mean, even things like this, we're talking about Ahsoka in this case, I think probably that'd be the way to go too. I actually, though, did not go for the DX for the upcoming Mando Ahsoka just because I could not stand that Yoda base that she's coming with. I had to have the regular base. I just thought it looked really cool. It has like the water line and stuff on it. So I actually broke my own rule there. I mean, I didn't go for the DX in this case, but yeah, absolutely. Fabio is right. I mean, that would be the one to get if you were trying to figure out between the two which direction to go. It's definitely going to be the more in demand one later on.
Yeah, agreed. I'm going to bring this question to you, Fabio, and I think that Maz's Toy Box was talking about this on Brother Cousin's show on Thursday. I treat all of my stuff. I haven't treated my Ray yet, but I'm going to. With that, there's a treatment you can use. Like I treat all my pleather, but Kevin Smith goes, feel like those seamless arms, and these are the same arms, Fabio, that are on the Ray, which I'm having no trouble with, will affect the value a bunch too. People that don't properly take care of these will end up with cracked arms, chip paint, etc. Yeah, I mean, I think, Fabio, a lot of people have asked you this question.
Yep.
But you never have really problem with pleather. I never have it. Now, I do two things. I have a humidifier running all the time. I've never had a problem, even with my vintage stuff. My bubbles, my windows on my boxes, they don't go yellow. I don't got problem with the pleather. I do treat the leather. Like I would treat a leather jacket. You know what I mean? I've got that stuff. I haven't really done. But I think there's stuff you could do. I think if you take care of if you change the oil on your car, dude, you can run it for 400, 500,000 miles. It can purr like a kitten for a long time. And I think it's the same thing with collectibles and these type of things. What do you think?
Well, there's 2 points here. So number one, if he's making it sound like he's going to be buying this aftermarket from somebody who already used it. So if that's your goal already, everybody takes care of their figures differently. I've seen figures that, my last, worry is their, elbows. These people's joints are gone, knees are gone, hips are gone. shoulders are broken. This is how people treat these figures. How, I have no idea. I've seen it over the years, how they sell them broken. Like, what are you doing to these figures? And I get it. People do play with these things. Why? I have no idea, but that's, they paid for it. They're allowed to do whatever they want with it. Number two, the seamless. It's a problem if you're having it stored in a humid place, if you constantly have it overly flex, where it's going to dry out wherever you keep her, and it'll crack over time. Like, you got to be mindful of that as well. If you know that these bodies have these issues, then treat them accordingly. Don't have them fully flexed because you're a poser, and then it's like, oh, look what happened. Then you complain about the body. Well, it's not news, you know what I mean, that this happens to these bodies. So, be aware of that and treat it, properly, and know that, I don't use any. I know a lot of people use products on their figures and stuff. I have never used a single, whether it's liquid, spray, wipe, anything on any of my figures. I don't know if it's just luck. I've never had any, pleather, peel, or disintegrate. Actually, there's one very, very old figure, one of my very first figures, Hot Toys figure, that was it was like some like demon firefighter figure that I bought. The figure, it looks super cool, but literally the entire leather jacket that it came with, it looks like somebody chewed on it because it just flaked away. That was, again, that was one of my very first figures from Hot Toys. It was a nobody figure. I can't even tell you what it was called. It was some, hell firefighter or something. But that's the one figure that went to crap. Every single other figure that I own from them from 2009 and up, no issues whatsoever. So again, I don't use any products. Whoever does, people seem to use them and it works for them. Perfect. But I just never did. So I don't even know what to expect using these products anyway.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. And again, I think that, for me, I know that I'm buying a toy. Look, even if you buy steel, look, yeah, I got katana swords. You have to treat the blade. Otherwise, these things are going to rust. There's going to be problems. You're going to have to sand it down. It's the same with any type of collectible or any type of thing. It's hard, unless you're getting a piece of iron, with that. But it's definitely a good point. And good to have, is this the Hot Toys wizard? No, but it is the man of hot collectibles saying that Fabio is wrong. So apparently, Victoria, you and I are correct because he only said Fabio was wrong. But he always says Fabio was late too. But Fabio, you've never been late to one of my shows, probably because I'm more late than you.
I'm waiting for you all the time.
So here's the next thing I want to bring up over here, Victoria. And Fabio. Victoria, I'm going to start with you with this, and we're going to lead into more Ahsoka and these female characters. But first, I want to bring up this particular topic first. Star Wars 2017 through 2020. So remember 2000, the end of 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. Then we had COVID, which we're still in the middle of, but seems like in some parts calming down. And now we have right now. And here's a real interesting thing. When people ask me all the time, Aries are crazy, Aries are nuts, Aries, you're drinking too much coffee. Okay. But Star Wars, and just this topic alone, and we have 90 in here, so please hit that like button, just like Fabio said in the chat. Much, much appreciated. Smash it. Take a pause. Strike a pose. I click it down. Click it down. Like. Listen. Back, Victoria, when The Last Jedi was, I brought this up in my Live and Raw earlier this week, in my shows earlier this week. It was so divisive. I brought up a statistic that really surprised a lot of people. All the critics loved The Last Jedi. It was over 92%, if you remember, popcorn rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and a lot of critics that we aspire to saying what a masterpiece The Last Jedi was. Oh, it's so great that we broke away from the usual Star Wars, and Rian Johnson gave us such a fresh. So it's like hearing Cool in the Gang, like fresh, exciting, how exciting The Last Jedi was. And then you had like 40-something% from the fans. who didn't like it for obvious reasons we're not going to get into. It was very, 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 very divisive. People weren't buying anything. You know, from the collections you do, Hasbro didn't want to get anything to do with them anymore. They just were making clones. They didn't want to do anything with The Last Jedi. They hardly did anything with The Rise of Skywalker. You couldn't even get people to go to the theater to see a Solo movie, which was absolutely ridiculous. Now, you don't even have a movie out, Victoria. And you have to wonder how popular Star Wars is. And we were talking about Asia before. It's Mandalorian's very popular now in Asia. And now, let me take a look at the Star Wars thing. Let's watch this Book of Boba Fett. We're kind of digging this because it's the new thing. It's Baby Grogu. It's Din Djarin. It's this whole thing. It's a totally different place right now than it was just going back to 2017, 2018, isn't it?
It's a tremendously different environment. It's a less toxic environment. Not that that's still not an issue, because a lot of the time it is, but Star Wars is in a better place. And I think we have the Mandalorian basically to thank for that. The Mandalorian has brought together people that were on both sides of those extremes when The Last Jedi came out, and it's universally loved. I mean, it's very rare that I've come across somebody that says, I hate The Mandalorian, it sucks, it's terrible. No, like it's usually not the case. Everybody has found something to appreciate, whether it's the older fans who have been around since the beginning and they find all these little Easter eggs and tidbits in there. Whether it's newer fans who gravitate towards Grogu and his story, or even prequel fans, as we're seeing with Book of Boba Fett and even a bit of season 2 of Mando. There's a little bit of something, I think, here for everybody with the newer content. And I think Disney did kind of learn a bit of a lesson with the sequels. And that's why, we're seeing a lot of, rewrites and a lot of changes in direction with regards to what area of the Star Wars timeline they're focusing on. And it's pretty positive overall right now. And, it's thanks to the Mandalorian. It's thanks to everything that's coming with Ahsoka, Lando, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Star Wars is in a good place. I think if you're a fan, and you've been following Star Wars for some time, you're going to know what that period 2017 to 2020 was like. And, you're going to remember what the prequels were like. There was a little bit of it then. I don't think it was quite as bad because social media wasn't what it was during the sequel era. But there was that there then too. And
it was bad. It was actually, and you bring up an interesting point, Victoria, and you could continue to go on, but it was actually pretty bad. And you bring up a great point. We didn't have the internet like now. But I even remember, like to me, it was actually, I felt like it was probably, at least from my view, stronger. I'll tell you why. No one in my family or immediate friends disliked the sequels, but none of them are really diehards like I am. My couple of daughters are, and we have the same comments about Luke and stuff like that. But everyone else was like, oh, yeah, the movie's fine. I don't get this stuff on the internet. But I go back to 1999, and I still remember my dad, my uncles, they would never shut up. That freaking Jar Jar Binks, I can't stand this crap. I'm not going to go watch that again. I can't stand that stupid Jar. I remember everybody just killing on it. Can you imagine, Victoria, if there was the internet like now? Maybe it would be on par. Maybe it'd be worse.
Yeah, could very well be. Not as many people at the time had internet access. You had forums. I remember forums being a thing back then. But there wasn't like Twitter and, Facebook and, all these platforms that magnify all the negativity. And
it's a good point. Magnify. It was a good word.
Yeah. And yeah, you bring a good point up, Aries, too, because I do know a lot of people that are not really big Star Wars fans that are casual. I use my husband. I always use him as the example for this. He's not really a big Star Wars fan, but he watches the movies because I do. I think to the casual movie-going audience, the sequels were fine. My husband wouldn't even know that there was a whole drama and controversy around The Last Jedi. If I told him that right now, he'd be like, "Oh, I didn't know that," because I don't talk about it.
Good point. That's been my point. Yeah.
And I use him as a bench, as just kind of like an example of what the casual movie-going audience is like for a lot of these things that I follow. And for The Last Jedi, it's interesting because I did show him all the Star Wars movies before the sequels came out. And I asked him, it was probably sometime last year, I asked him, so of all the Star Wars movies you've seen, what would you say is your favorite? And guess what he said?
The Last Jedi.
The Last Jedi.
I'm not
Yeah.
surprised. Did you know that that's my wife's favorite too? She hates it that Luke died, and she gets my thing. But she was like that freaking movie from beginning to end with General Hux and all the joking and the space battle and then going in. She thought it was great. But then again, she's very casual. She's like, okay,
Yeah.
it's good. It's like I'll watch Marvel, I'll watch Iron Man. Oh yeah, it's great too. Let me go on to watch Batman. That's how she thinks of it. But
Yeah.
us as diehards, man, we're cutthroat. I feel like this IP, Fabio, is Star Wars. Maybe because I'm such a fan, it's the most cutthroat genre out there.
I noticed that too. Like I'm not, crazy diehard fan, Star Wars to that, like super crazy. No, I'm not. Never been. But I noticed that a lot of people are very, very hardcore. And what made me realize that was how much they complain. Like to me, the new movies were entertainment. They were to me they were fine. But to the hardcore fan, they were like, oh no, this is not, what we expected. This is not what we like. And in my head, I'm like, but it's a movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but that's when I realized this is like for real, for real. People are really, it's like a whole subculture, just Star Wars. And I've never been that deep in it at all. But when I noticed was I noticed that when the new movies came out, I was like, these people are really like into this. And it was like, it really like got me because I was like, I'm that way with Marvel. I'm that way with DC, like really, really into that stuff. But to see it like as an outsider, be like, oh my God, like these people are really complaining about something that, from their childhood was really, really meaningful. And they're like, now you're changing this for me, and I'm not happy about it. Like to me, that was insane.
Yeah, and the other interesting thing, Fabio and Victoria, is I remember how hot because The Force Awakens made Endgame and Infinity War money because it's just as popular. That's why they did the day. That's why they paid $4 billion to George Lucas for it. That's why they got amusement parks for it. There's really no difference. And my point's going to be when we start equating Star Wars to Marvel for Hot Toys. But the very interesting thing about it is you couldn't keep those Pharaoh BB-8s or any BB-8 anything on the shelves during the Force Awakens. I know we all imagine that, but it really sometimes negativity can be infectious. And for me, I really didn't want to buy anything. I didn't want to look at anything on the internet. I'd rather talk to family and friends because I wasn't getting the same vibe about the sequels as I was being on the internet. That being said, sales plummeted. They went down. Then they were trying to give away those Pharaoh BB-8s during The Last Jedi. They weren't coming out with anything new anymore. Hasbro cut their lines down in half. People weren't making this anymore. Rise of Skywalker, they only came out with it seems like less than a dozen figures in the 6-inch for that. They didn't do any of the 3 and 3/4. There was nothing to pick up at Midnight Madness. I can go on and on and on and on. It sucked. So when we talk about why didn't we come out with C3PO? It's absolutely 1000% not because there's a license issue. First of all, Hot Toys teased it twice. You're not going to go to a national event, get national coverage, and get fines bestowed on you from Star Wars by advertising something as a respected company that's going to put you in jeopardy by stealing somebody's license. They're able to make C3PO. They could even sell an Anakin Skywalker or a freaking Emperor. They're not going to sell some droid that they felt like they weren't going to sell. That's why I feel, Fabio, you weren't getting a lot of these figures that we talked about in the past. We're going to get people to go see the Solo movie after Rogue One. That scares a lot of people. They're looking at that data too, Fabio. And I feel like now, if they put out Baze Malbus, I know it'll sell. Victoria knows it'll sell. You know it'll sell. It wouldn't have sold back then, though.
I see. I think it still would have sold because, again, I mean, to a
Maybe that
certain
one. Yeah. To a certain
that
point,
one,
yeah, I agree.
that one, 100% because it's not a trooper. It's a head sculpt we would be getting. So that would have sold immediately. And like you said, even to this day, if that's announced today, the pre-orders be right in, 100%. If it's announced that it's coming out, within 3 months, it'll sell out because again, it's something that, especially me, like I have literally every single figure from Rogue One. and I would love to have Baze to be able to complete the line. But so that's how I know. Like I personally would buy it immediately. But I feel like just as I am waiting for it, a lot of people are waiting for it as well. And again, because it's a head sculpt, it'll sell no matter what without an issue.
Well, listen, with 91 in here, we're getting to the last and funnest segment of this show. Please go ahead and smash that like button. Pause what you're doing. Like I said before, strike a pose. And now move your fingers and hit like. And while you're at it, do you know that I have the link to Victoria's Cantina and Fab's Figures within the video description? You should subscribe to both of their outstanding channels. As a matter of fact, I'm going to share the screen as we get up to the last segment of the show. And you have to wonder, is it also possible that I have the links to both of their channels within the resources and links tab here at sixscalecantina.com? And I say yes. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe to them. They are both in here for sure. So make sure you go ahead and check it out. Victoria's Cantina right here, Fab's Figures right there. Go ahead.
Why is Loco Lou first? We must change that.
Because Loco Lou said the millions and millions. Oh my goodness gracious. But one of the things I want to show you guys and talking about where I really feel that Star Wars is in a different place. And we're starting to see that with a lot that's what's going on. The very interesting thing to me, everybody, is what is going on with Star Wars and the fact that they haven't even had a movie. They've had a couple of Marvel movies. Of course, you had the Turtles. Of course, you've had this movie. Of course, you've had the Black Widow movie. You haven't had a Star Wars movie. And quite honestly, to me, thank God, because I'm not ready for a Star Wars movie. You're talking about a few television shows, a couple of seasons and one television show, and you got an animated series. And everybody's spilling their coffee and going crazy for Star Wars. Wow, they can't even keep Grogu merchandise within those amusement parks. I mean, it's just absolutely infectious. And when you look at this news section, of course, as I told you all, the breaking news section was finally updated here at sixscalecantina.com. We had Casca and Woves up there for Axe Woves for a long time. But there she is. My girl Ahsoka, breaking news. I think that's going to be updated. I don't think she's going to last there that long. And that's what when you look at the biggest movers section here, guys, you see Rey, you see Leia, you see Jyn Erso. There's tons of Reys, all the Jyn Ersos, all the Leias. I'm going to get into my next thing over here. And when you go to Star Wars versus Marvel, and I got to update this because now this is 27, thanks to the figure you were talking about earlier. That Eternals is Marvel, right, Fabio? That figure that just came out.
Yeah, Marvel. Yep.
Yep. Okay, Gilgamesh. So that'll be Gilgamesh. That'll make it 27. 27 pre-orders for 2023. Only 3 for Star Wars. You see a huge difference, 106 to 56. I know there's a lot of different variables, but I think that some of the reason you have that gap is because Star Wars, a lot of companies, not just Hot Toys, didn't want to touch the merchandise going back to the era of The Last Jedi through Rise of Skywalker, where I think there's going to be a difference now. And talking about some of these women in the secondary market, Fabio, that are going so high, bringing up my favorite part of some of these programs, you'd have to wonder, putting up a figure like this one right here, I can absolutely see them putting out Akira from the Solo movie at this point. Perhaps she'll be coming up, Emily Clark, in something with Disney Plus. But for Marvel, they come up with figures like this, Fabio. I'm going to pull this up to kind of give you a little bit of perspective if I actually have it. And this is a cool figure. Don't get me wrong, especially if something's so hot and all you want to do is just buy everything you can for that IP because it's so hot, whether it's venomized, demonized, whatever, Deadpool, or this type of thing. And people will say, "Well, why do you need this? We still didn't get the girl with the horns from Guardians of the Galaxy, or we didn't get this character yet, or we're still waiting for them to release this because it's money and Marvel's hot and people will just buy it."
Correct.
Well, right now, Star Wars is just as hot. May I suggest hotter? So coming out with a figure that's not even like this, but an actual character, especially like you said, Fabio, the way all the Leias are moving, even the sequel Leia, the way all the Rays are moving, and I mean all of them. Forget about that Ray and Dio one, which we're going to talk about tomorrow, which is about to break the $400 tier range. Forget about all the Leias. I mean, I don't see how they would lose coming out with something like this. And as they look at venomized Groots and things of that nature, demonized, whatever it is, Deadpools. I could
Yeah,
see something like this now. I don't feel like that they're going to be scared that no one would buy this.
but again, if this is from the Solo movie, right? The Solo movie, we know how it did. So again, remember we're talking about female characters. They're already, just for her being a female, the numbers are already low. So they have to have some type of hype going on at that moment to be able to make that money on these. Like if she came out, I would buy her in a heartbeat. The problem is,
Yeah, me too.
not everybody else would. You know what I mean? And that's what it gets tricky with Hot Toys, because unless there's a really big hype for the figure, they're not going to bother, especially if it's a female. A male, they'll take a risk because, again, it's a male. But a female, again, she needs to be backed up by something to be able to make that money for them. So, for example, a Chewbacca from Solo would be more accepted right now than she would, just because of the character. But doesn't mean that she won't sell, but she won't be better, or she won't sell better than a Chewbacca. So that's my point. It's very tricky when it comes to, making females randomly when there is no hype behind that character. If Solo had done very well, just like, I'm going to compare now Solo and Rogue One. People love Rogue One.
There you go.
And I feel like that's why they're still making figures for it. Solo, was up and down, hot and cold. So some people liked it, some people didn't. I could guarantee you that it feels like more people didn't like it than they did like it, because they stopped. They didn't even give us a Chewbacca with that line, which would have sold super well, because even if you didn't have the original Chewbacca or the Force Awakens Chewbacca, there's your first Chewbacca right there from Solo. It would have sold immediately. But because of the movie, there was no hype behind it. There's no reason for them. And those figures, the Mud Trooper sold. It was super hot, sold out immediately. The deluxe Solo figure, that was a hot figure too, sold out pretty quickly. So, I think the regular one either still up or hasn't sold out yet. Or if it did, it took a long time to sell out. So that's what I mean. If there's no hype, they're not going to just give us a figure for no reason, because they know it's just going to sit.
Yeah, Victoria, how much does hype have to do with these figures, whether it's female or not? I think hype is big. And I think Fabio brings up a great point on some of these figures. And I think that some of the other figures, like this Jyn Erso, which they know we can't even keep this in the secondary market. I mean, I'll actually bring this one up. And, we're going to talk about this tomorrow. But let me actually, you see Jyn Erso here, Victoria. I'm going to actually bring up, I hope I have it queued. Here's one that needed super glue. It was incomplete, okay? Just from last week, or very close to last week, okay? Yeah, it was March 10th. $480 with 41 bids. Very, very good seller, but it was clear that it was missing stuff, and he needed super glue. And it still went for $500. Not including the taxes. You talk about hot. Wow. I mean, yeah. I just feel like for now, because Star Wars hot, they're a little bit less scared. Oh, we don't know if C-3PO will sell. I think at this point, the way the Mandalorian's doing, the way Star Wars is doing on Disney Plus, Victoria, some of these characters will sell.
Yeah, no, I definitely. I don't know that I absolutely agree that it's at this point it's a male or female character type thing. I think right now it's a Star Wars thing. Star Wars is huge, and you look at characters like Padme. We saw the prototype of her how long ago. People are still asking like, "Hey, where's Padme?" She's not necessarily in current media or anything, but the demand for that is still there. The Leia figures obviously still do very well. The Last Jedi figure even eventually sold out, and is doing pretty well in the aftermarket. Endor Leia. I think if they continue to make Star Wars figures in general right now, at least if you're catering to the original trilogy, to the Mandalorian, to the prequel trilogy, which is largely underserved at this point, and the Clone Wars, the figures are going to continue to do well. To me, it doesn't matter if it's Kira or Asajj Ventress or another character from Mandalorian. I think they're going to continue to do quite well. But yeah, I mean, Kira, 100%. I'm one of those people that actually I prefer Solo to Rogue One. I love Rogue One, but Solo for me is just a more entertaining film. It's just a fun ride. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a little bit more lower stakes than Rogue One. But I just found it highly enjoyable, and I think it's also very underserved in terms of just characters, not just through Hot Toys per se, but through other companies as well. And obviously that is, like Fabio was saying, does have to do in part because the film didn't do, what previous films did in the Disney era. But there are still characters that we're probably going to see again, right? Lando getting his own series. Could Kira appear in that? Quite possibly. I'd personally prefer to see them in their solo iterations because I have the Han Solo, right? You kind of got to have the crew together. And I think those are like the big three of that film. So I'd love to see it. I think if they did announce it, say, hey, this is the pre-order, she's coming, I think she would do just fine. I would have no concerns about how well she would do. I also think there's other variables at play, right? There's what is the quantity? Like the Mud Trooper, that wasn't produced in huge quantities. Director Krennic wasn't produced in huge quantities. If they had been produced in the quantities of other figures, they may not be as in demand as they are now because they would have made more of them. But Kira, give it to me yesterday. I'll take it. And, just hugely stoked for even the possibility that could be something that happens someday.
Yeah, that's actually we're in the middle of this was actually a topic I forgot to put in leading ladies sellability, and that's what we're talking about here. Because on the banner, I have all the leading ladies from the movies on there. Of course, I don't got Gina Carano. I don't have Cara Dune on there because then we got to get to all the politics of why she's not in there. But I do think that if she was in that, we would have had that figure 10,000 years ago already, Fabio.
I just want to point out something Victoria said, which makes a lot of sense, and I agree with Star Wars being where it is right now. Female characters don't have a problem at all because, as you see, we're getting what's her name? The last one we got the announcement for we got Casca Reeves. We got yeah. So it's not about females with Hot Toys right now. Regarding Mandalorian and all that stuff. I was talking specifically about the Solo movie that didn't do well. So if that figure comes out now because of the hype of the movie, I don't think it would do well. But female characters in Star Wars at this moment, no matter what it is, super hot.
Well, listen, you have to wonder, Fabio or Victoria, is this what they call either one of you?
They call him the Wizard.
I think both of you have experienced the effects of, the Hot Toys Wizard. Come on. But listen, I want to go ahead and bring up to the next thing then, because it's very interesting, Victoria.
Don't be afraid of who you are.
Dude, Victoria, I would buy that. I would buy that figure so damn fast. It's a figure I want so bad. Listen, I have some news I'm going to be sharing tomorrow. Fabio's going to be on the show with me, along with P Rock. It's going to be Sunday Coffee with Aries. Go over a lot of market stuff. That Ray and Dio figure with that likeness there that I just played, that the Hot Toys Wizard just interrupted the show with again, but this time with some really cool bass music in there. He did this the other day, but it seems to have a message here that he wants to drive home, or she wants to drive home. I got so many other companies, Victoria, making that Dark Side Ray, where they wanted to keep away from the sequels or had been talking about that on this show. Not that figure, though. You cannot, I don't see a scenario where they reissue or come up with a 2.0 of that Ray and Dio, Victoria, in the secondary market, despite how high it's getting. That is definitely a grail. It's going to breach the $400 tier range. It'll eventually be an over $500 tier range figure. It'll be double from where it was at retail. But I think what they're going to do is I think that so easily they've already got the mold. They got the head sculpt, as you can see with that clip from The Rise of Skywalker, Victoria. You don't have to have the teeth like this. She's also has it rested. So you can easily just paint that. You got black robes, you got Darth Maul's lightsaber, put it in a package. People will eat that crap up so fast to get a female Sith. Let me ask you this. Is it possible that would even sell out even quicker if they made that in the same amount of numbers as the Rey with Dio in the white outfit? What say you?
I think it's certainly possible. I don't know that it would sell out quicker, only because it's a little more niche in terms of the overall representation in the movie. She spent 90% of the movie in the other outfit. But I think it would certainly do pretty well if they came out with that. I know a lot of people love that aesthetic, love her in that outfit. The Black Series figure did quite well. They had to do additional runs on it. Yeah, I mean, like you said, female Sith, that's not something we've seen with Hot Toys in terms of Star Wars before. And there are characters they could certainly do that would fit that build. But yeah, if they, like you said, if they repurposed that head sculpt, gave her the more clammy looking pale skin, maybe some little more, blackened out eyes, just like she looks in that scene. I think it could look really cool. And I think it would perform pretty well. And I think sometimes the best thing, and I think Solo is an example of this, that the best thing that we can see for some of these films, even the prequels, is time, right? Once time goes on, people kind of forget about their nitpicks and they learn how to enjoy things just for what they are. And I think that's why prequel figures are doing pretty well. And I think that Solo in particular, I forget where I read it, but there was Netflix doesn't usually release like their numbers, but from somebody who was able to access that, Solo did very well while it was on Netflix, and a lot more people saw it and tended to enjoy it. Yeah, there's the Black Series render right there. It's a great figure too. I have that one. I would love them to do that in Hot Toys. I mean, I'd love to see a Sith Eternal Palpatine though for Hot Toys too. So I think those two, bare minimum would be great to see at some point. But yeah, this is a great dark side interpretation, and we've never seen that in live action before of a female character. So maybe you get a swappable head with the teeth. Unlikely, but
I'd love
that.
It'd be cool. Unlikely for sure.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say you get, two head sculpts, or even you could even get a DX double pack. You get, regular Ray with this Ray with, same packaging, two different figures in one.
Yeah, Fabio, let's stay with you on this. And great thoughts, Victoria. Right with you on this. Why are these companies like this? Is Gentle Giant like another one? I had Hasbro up. You saw that. Why are these companies making this figure? Why are they thinking that they want to do this? What is the logic behind it?
My opinion is, how long was she on screen for with this outfit?
2 seconds.
Right. So it's rare.
Explained it, basically.
It's very rare. It's something different. It wasn't her character, like Victoria said. She wore the other outfit the entire movie. This was there, again, just for rarity, in my opinion. So, and they know that rarity, causes hype. When you see something that you're like, oh my God, I never expected them to make this, and they make it, you're going to jump for it. Same thing with if Hot Toys decided to make this, I would be the first one to buy it because, again, very rare. It's a female character. The movie could have done however it did, but because this is now an evil version of a great figure that Hot Toys made, why not? You know what I mean? So that's how I think of this figure if it was to be released by them.
Yeah. And here's another thing, Victoria. I want to go back to you with this because I get this sense, and I'm going to bring in a little bit of psychology. You were talking about your husband, when it came to The Last Jedi. I brought up a similar scenario about talking to my wife about The Last Jedi. And here's a very interesting thing. Whenever I bring up Dark Side Ray, like you see it all in the chats, every chat I have, it's almost like everyone's real cool on that one. A lot of people want that one. And even in the past, a lot of people are like, oh, but I'd buy the Dark Side Ray. I'm not going to buy that Ray and Dio. It's almost like that was the best part of Rise of Skywalker. That's not part of the Rian Johnson thing. This is the way it should have gone. I feel like I'm just getting like a Darth Talon, or I'm getting, some type of female Sith. So I almost feel like for the hardcore fans that, sometimes there's almost like we almost got that. I will tell you this very, very interestingly. When I talk about, and I see this a lot less, which is showing me that the Mandalorian really healed Star Wars. But when I was first doing this show, okay, people would say, hey, Aries, I don't like the sequels, but I just got this Leia from The Last Jedi. Or, hey, guys, I don't like the sequels. I want to point that out, but I was able to really score a Jet Trooper. I was like, dude, you don't have to make an excuse like people are going to attack you to get this figure. It's perfectly fine. I mean, I felt bad, and I would always be vociferous about that. But really, with the Dark Side Ray, I almost feel like for whatever reason, this particular figure, Victoria, just goes way outside of that. It's like it's not even part of it. That's why I think it would just move so well.
Yeah, totally. That's a good point. I mean, you don't have to really justify it, right? If you like the figure, a good toy is a good toy. And I'm sure I have toys and have had toys before I even saw the movies to whatever those toys were part of, just because I thought they were great toys. And I think this is another example. And I know people too that did go all in on the sequel trilogy Hot Toys figures that maybe didn't love the films or actually strongly disliked them, but they were still drawn to the visual aesthetic of the characters, whether that was Kylo Ren or Rey or Finn or whomever. And this makes sense. This has like we were talking about Ahsoka earlier, this does have cross appeal because there are a lot of people that like Rey as a character. A lot of those, maybe from one demographic or another, but I think this is something that would appeal to even somebody that's a little more casually into Hot Toys. I think that's something that we did see with the last Rey that came out. And that's part of the reason she did so well.
Yeah, no, I absolutely think so. Listen, everybody, you are watching the Market Show live, and I am the Dark Jedi, Aries Tarrington. I'm serving up all the Star Wars Hot Toys talk, along with Victoria's Cantina and Fabio.
That was awesome. That was so awesome.
Damn, the wizard is just on fire, baby.
The Chewbacca part was my favorite. He's like, Chewbacca, calm down.
Damn. Yeah, Brother Cousins is a great Lando.
Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, I hope that Favreau and Filoni and Deborah Chow are watching this, because it's like, listen, come on now. I feel like Donnie Glover's got some competition in there. Holy moly, that was funny. Let's go ahead and put up some of the remarks on here. Rodney goes, Brother Cousins with the Daredevil cameo. Come on. Exotic Carfax. That was epic. JB, awesome pimping. Chewie's bandolier with the oh my goodness gracious. 808 Michigan Jedi is rolling over. Awesome. And it's good to have everybody in here, including 808 as well. Doc Smizzle says space pimping. Exotic goes, holy cow, it's Lando's brother cousin's uncle wizard. Come on, guys. Come on. That is just too funny. It's father cousins. LOL. I think that one went over pretty good, guys. I think the Hot Toys wizard. Is it possible that the Hot Toys wizard is on fire? And I say yes. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. And it is the perfect time. Bugman with the space pip. Um, that's a lot of good work. Putting this up on the screen. 1/6 scale man in the house. Shout out to the fob 3. Punish intended fab. LOL. Pun intended fab. Good to have Lael in here. Lael, what did you think, brother? 1/6 scale man with the $2 drop. Thank you so much. What did you think of that interruption from brother cousins? Come on, that was epic. That was epic. Good to have the 1/6 scale man in here. Make sure you subscribe to him as well. Oh man, that is awesome. It is right on good timing. Right on good timing for some of these figures. Look, and I know that the Hot Toys Wizard was talking about OT figures there. But I want to bring this figure up because to me, this is OT at this point. And we were talking about this. I've got a funny feeling with this show coming up. And I have a funny feeling with a flashback. I'm hooked on a feeling. I got a funny feeling. Did I hear from the Hot Toys Wizard, Fabio? Look, Anakin's hot. You know, I've got some breaking news on Anakin that I shared before the new year, right from Hayden Christensen's mouth, that there's not one, not two, but 3 additional figures being worked on from Hot Toys with his likeness. Whether it's this figure or a reiteration of this figure or something with her, this is a major leading lady from all 3 prequel figure era movies. And those are hot right now, Fabio. All the clone stuff, all the Clone Wars. She was in the Clone Wars. I have a funny feeling, Fabio, that this is going to be officially announced this year in some capacity.
I hope so. She was announced how long ago? I feel like there's a lot of figures that have been announced over the years that we've never gotten, and I feel like it's a waste because a lot of these figures were complete, full lines for us, and I don't know what the issue is.
Yeah, TK 5x2, friend of TK Fobo, give us Padme. Hideaway says Leo brothers will go as Space Pimp forever. There you go. There you go. Give us Padme. Come on, Victoria. Look, I was bringing up and setting the table for this conversation specifically. I don't think that they came out with a lot of Star Wars figures because it wasn't just Hot Toys. It was a lot of companies that were keeping away. Now it's looking like companies are vying for Star Wars. They wish they can get their hands on that precious Star Wars license from Disney. There's a lot of hoopla right now for Star Wars. This is a major character. She's a major character. She is she is the leading actor of the prequels with Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor. I think now this figure is going to come. The theme with 6 scale Cantina all week has been female characters. I'm so pumped up about the Ahsoka. I would be just as pumped up for her because it's a long time, Victoria.
Totally. As Obi-Wan says in Revenge of the Sith when he goes to Utapau, if you have warriors, now is the time. So it's like right now, Hot Toys, if you have customers, now is the time. We need to get this figure. And, with Obi-Wan coming out, I think that there's going to be a lot of feels that people are going to start getting and remembering with regards to the prequel trilogy. And this is going to be a great time to do that. Obviously, there's multiple versions of Padme that they could potentially do. I think this is probably the main action-oriented look. So this is the one that they showed, right? So, yeah, we need to get this. And you gotta wonder, Aries, is this a possibility here to lead into other Attack of the Clones based figures that we haven't gotten? Obi-Wan, Anakin, in their more Attack of the Clones specific looks. So this is going to be, if it happens this year, it's going to be a great sign for those possibilities, I think. And Padme, right? Like you said, main character from the prequel trilogy. We should have had her already. And I think, it's going to be the perfect time this year to make that happen.
Yeah, she brings up you bring up a great point, Victoria, and Fabio, have you chime in on that. I do think when you come out with a figure, I always said this about Kit Fisto. Why do you put out Kit Fisto? Not just for Kit Fisto, because then you're starting to have to do what I always said. You have to wonder, does that mean we're getting Plo Koon? Does that mean we're getting Ki-Adi-Mundi? Does that mean that we're going to get this one? We're going to get Barriss Offee? Are we going to get Shakti? Are we going to get Ayla Secura? So I think Victoria brings up a great point. If we get her, does our mind start wondering? Is it a subtle marketing thing like, hey, you're going to get that look with the little ponytail thing for Anakin? You're going to get that look for Anakin from Attack of the Clones. You're going to get the Han Solo hair Obi-Wan from Attack of the Clones. I think it's a good point.
I don't think they do that on purpose, but that's what we tend to do ourselves when they release stuff like that. And it works for them. You know what I mean? Because all we do is stay tuned. Oh my God, what's next? What's next? You know, even though I feel like they don't do that on purpose to us, it's just human nature for us to start wondering what's going to happen next. So it like I said, it works for them very, very well.
Yeah. And I want to put up this comment here because I think it's a great question. If I can get to it here, where is it? It's got to be right here. It was about that okay, maybe this one here. Broderick, Padme on May 4th, please. So here's a question. I think there was more May 4th comments as well, but it's a great comment. I've been talking about this since I've had a series on Live and Raw where I bring up a bunch of characters. I've been doing it the last month. I'm going to do it again this Monday. I first started off with characters that don't require a head sculpt. Then I moved to characters that just have a head sculpt that was already, used, like Tamora Morrison, the Rey one. But the whole theme has been, Victoria, how does Hot Toys correct what they did last year? Because there was no hoopla on Echo, which is a phenomenal trooper. I mean, everything was on Grievous because Sideshow was the company that gave us one legacy character during the May 4th week. And I felt like Hot Toys didn't realize how sacred May 4th is for Star Wars fans, not only here in the States, but throughout the world. And all the attention went on that Grievous, which turned out to be horrible for many different reasons, for a lot of reasons. But I feel that if the only figure that they gave us that was legacy, I'm not going to say OT, I'll call it legacy, Padme legacy. I'll call the old characters legacy. I feel like if this was the only one we got on May 4th that week, do you think that would suffice as filling the bill for a legacy character? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think if they did it this year, it would certainly suffice.
Yeah, this year, May 4th. Yeah, that week. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fabio, what do you think? Would this do the bill? If we didn't get the Bespin Luke, if we didn't get the Bespin Han, if we didn't get a Darth Vader, we didn't get C-3PO, they said, oh, here's a prequel figure, this one. Does this work for May 4th week?
Yes and no. Yes, as a supplemental figure. For example, if there's something else coming out, then this would 100% fit. But just her alone, I think people are going to be left hanging, wanting for more, wanting more stuff. So her alone, no. If she comes as part of another figure, with another figure being announced, absolutely.
90 in here. Please go ahead and smash that like button. You are watching the Market Show live. The Hot Toys Wizard has already interrupted this program, taking on the likeness of Lando Calrissian. Come on. And make sure you subscribe to Brother Cousins Jay. Make sure you rewatch it if you didn't see that part of it yet. What about this? Staying with you, Fabio. What about this? I know we've talked about it before. And I feel like we're going to get another one. Here's an OT figure. I'm going to go OT. Everybody wants OT for May 4th. Does this fit the bill to get another Leia?
That would be exactly what I was saying before. That would be a rare figure. That would be a hot figure. If that comes out with Padme, absolutely. They'll break the internet immediately because nobody would ever expect this.
Yeah. Victoria, I would love to get another Leia, an original trilogy figure, and Padme all during May 4th week. That would be phenomenal. And I think it's possible. I think that they fit this is Carrie Fisher. This is Princess Leia, one of the most recognizable, if not one of the top 3 most recognizable Star Wars characters of all time. So if you put her and then you put up her mom, Padme, in the same week, and you kind of honor that duo while we're getting ready for the Obi-Wan series, I'd love it, baby.
Yeah, hopefully they do that. If not, wait a few weeks, do a Mother's Day special there. May the 4th would be great. And somebody mentioned in the comments that this is the 20th anniversary this year of the Attack of the Clones, and it's a great time to release this figure and potentially announce anything else from that film. And Leia in Bouche disguise. I know a lot of people have been asking for that. I think it's an obvious one. I think eventually they will get to it at some point, but there's no Leias currently in the market, right? So Endor Leia was the last one she sold through. Leia's obviously, like you were saying earlier, do well, and they increase on the aftermarket over time. So yeah, I think this would make sense as the next logical release at this point.
Here's a very interesting question I want to bring up to both of you. I love this question because I've been waiting for someone to ask me this. Joel Pellerin, great supporter. Would Padme outsell a Queen Amidala figure? Well, you have to wonder because Hot Toys is known for just killing it with the artwork and the head sculpts, right? And I'll pull this up onto the screen. Thank you so much for asking that, Joel. This always, even back in 1999, Fabio, this struck me. This was a chase figure too. Back when the 3 3/4 line for episode 1 to get this particular figure. Also with the 12-inch line. I mean, it's an amazing outfit. Can you freaking imagine? Forget about sellability. Forget about who would be interested. I know I'd be interested. How we just looked at that Clone Wars. So can you freaking imagine how good Hot Toys could do this, dude?
100%. And this will be hot. Again, this is something that nobody would ever expect them to do. You know what I mean? So that's what makes it. That would be the hype behind it. It's like, the unexpected part of it. It's like, oh my God, where did this come from? And that's what would sell it for them. But again, this being a female figure as well, they're not going to make as many if they ever go that route. But this is a hot sale no matter what.
Yeah, I would, Victoria. If this was the only figure that they gave us, I don't think anyone would be thinking about Queen Amidala. They would be expecting Padme. So I think it's a complete turn of it's like you're watching a movie or you're watching that TV show, and you're like, Victoria, I thought he was the bad guy. I didn't know that she was going to be the bad guy. They were kind of all leading up to this. And it's kind of like, well, I thought you were going to come out with that Attack of the Clones, Padme. I didn't think you'd come out with Queen Amidala. But if Hot Toys did this, especially if this was a freaking DX with the fabric, with the outfit, with the things that they could do, my God, I actually think that this would be so much buzz, Victoria, for Hot Toys. I don't think they even needed another OT or prequel figure the whole May 4th week. This would be completely unexpected.
Yeah, it certainly would. This is an iconic look. I mean, back in 1999 when this film came out, I mean, this was Queen Amidala, right? When you thought of her first and foremost in this look, and I think over time that has continued to be the case. Even though she had multiple outfits, not only in that film but in this trilogy, I think that the Padme Geonosis look is probably the thing they would do first. And I think depending on how well that does, that could dictate if you ever get something like this down the road. But if it were up to me, I would prefer this just because I like this. I think this is just such a gorgeous, regal, unique look. And just thinking of what Hot Toys could possibly do, they would knock it out of the park. And, you wouldn't even need to do much with her, just have her in a museum pose, just standing on the shelf, and it would be sufficient. So, yeah, I'd love to see this happen. And I think, if they do finally announce that other Padme Amidala, there will be a lot writing on that to see if something like this is feasible. And it might not be for some time, but yeah, I'm glad you brought this one up because this like if I had a personal top 10 list of just, pie in the sky wants from Hot Toys, this would definitely be on that list.
Especially with that throne. Oh my God.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
And you talk about the thrones that are hot lately. You talk about if they came out with a throne for this, come on. I mean, Victoria, that's a great point, Fabio, bro. You talk about displayability. You don't have the regular display. It's kind of like Boba Fett on the throne they're coming out with. That would be money.
Yeah, 100%. And even a double pack of her and the Padme that we just saw before, that would be great as well. Have this, or somebody I think just posted a DX. You get the throne, you get her, you get the regular dress Padme. It's an easy sell for them.
Yeah, no, absolutely it is. Oops, losing my spot there. 95 in here. Smash that like button right now. Take a pause, hit it, baby. We're talking about possibilities, crazy possibilities, insane possibilities, where the 808 Michigan Jedi says, wife and I say yes. Look, this is what it's all about. And I don't think you really could explore Victoria with this back during The Last Jedi, because I don't feel like the internet, even if your husband would allow it, even though my wife would allow it at the restaurant, at the table, I don't feel like at the internet at that time that people would receive stuff like this. I feel like right now that the oven's hot, baby. I feel like that we're cooking stuff. I feel like I could smell what the Hot Toys Wizard is cooking. I feel like I could smell what Deborah Chow's going to be cooking up in this series coming on. Come on. And what's going on. I feel like that the time is ripe for a twist like this, for a turn like this, for a sudden, what the frack? Are you kidding me? And I think that this would do it. I really think that this would be. Let me ask you this, Victoria. Would the vibe be, oh, this is so weird? Like when they came out with the quill and people are like, I'm wondering if I should like this or not? Or would it be like, holy crap, I just spilled my coffee. I need this?
I think it would be the latter. People have really come around to the prequels in the last several years, and there's a lot of nostalgia there for people that were kids when those films were out, and they're now adults buying collectibles or buying hot toys, and I think that it would be one of those random things, very unexpected, but in a good way. It'd be a great, pleasant surprise, a welcome one, and people would see this, and I think they'd be stoked. I would be stoked. And I think if I even showed this to somebody like, bringing up my husband again, he'd be like, oh, that looks cool. You need to pre-order it. And, you don't even need to ask permission on that one. Just buy it, I think he would say. So yeah, this would be a great one.
Yeah. And there's possibly, Fabio, I think that sometimes we talk about figures that would cause buzz. Whether it's that figure, let's talk about that Queen Amidala, which would be odd, but it would be like, oh my God, hot. That's going to be hot. Hot Toys did it. Or a Grievous. I feel like that type of figure, like something like that, or a General Grievous would be like, what the heck? I really didn't think that they would do that. I feel like now may be the time this year when Star Wars is hot, like Victoria said earlier in the show, strike when the iron's hot. And I think it's going to stay hot. But I think it may be the time for them to just make an announcement on something like crazy.
Yeah, but I don't think these figures need that hype. Specifically, the Queen figure. I don't think she needs any hype. I think whoever knows about her will want her regardless. You know what I mean? I personally, I would buy her in a heartbeat. But again, it comes down to what that specific person wants at that moment. A lot of people, like you just mentioned before, a lot of people buy because of the hype. They just, oh my God, it's popular. I must have her. And then that's where you get into, you get the figure. It's like, oh my God, why did I buy this? And that's when you see them being resold immediately after opening, because it's like, I bought this because of the hype, but now it's like, I don't really like it. What am I doing with this? So they get rid of it. Again, you don't need hype for this figure. Whoever again knows about the character will want this character no matter when it's released. You're gonna have the people who are like, should I buy this? Should I not? Does it go with my collection? Does it not? But when it comes to popularity of the character, she doesn't need hype for to be sold at all. And yeah, if they make her, they'll have no issue. Again, and like we talked about earlier, it's a female, therefore it's gonna be, it's gonna be worth, even when she's sold out, it's gonna be worth, a lot of money. So It's a no-brainer for them to make.
Yeah, listen, everybody, this has been such and I know that this has been such an awesome show, and I enjoying it. I know Victoria, you got to go. I think we all got to go. Fabio, you and I got a show tomorrow, but this was a lot of fun. But I am going to put this up on the screen as we get ready to see what's going on our channels, because a lot of people gave me flack about this, and people are talking about this in the chat. Aries, you're crazy. Aries, this will never happen. Never, never happen. I'm just going to tell you guys, you know I'm right. You know this is going to happen. It has Hot Toys written all over it. We're having fun. I'm telling you right now, my man Jimmy Smits, they're going to make a figure on him. Whether it's from the Obi-Wan series or another series, Bail Organa coming soon to a pre-order near you. And yes, look at those eyes. Look at those eyes. Look at him. Come on. And look, I don't want to hear about him before C-3PO. I don't want to hear about it. Because, Victoria, we've gotten Quill before C-3PO. We've gotten a Blurg before C-3PO. We've gotten this before C-3PO. We've gotten that before C-3PO. We're getting a lot of things before that. I'm telling you right now, though, he's in this new series, Victoria. I am so excited to see Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, Jimmy Smits talking about their whole thing again, closing the show. I'm telling you, this is coming, Victoria. Just tell me, in the history of Hot Toys, before they ever go out of business, it doesn't have to be this year, any year, in the history of life, do you think we'll ever get a release of Bail Organa from Hot Toys? Ever?
Sure, why not? It's Bail Organa. For all the reasons you've outlined. For all the reasons you've outlined. Look at that face. Look at those eyes. And he's Leia's dad, right? So I mean, it makes sense that at some point we could see something like this potentially. I'd love to see it personally. Let's hope so. I think the best hope would be what is his presence in upcoming media. I think that could maybe kind of push this possibility over the edge. I think there's a really good chance of this character is going to come back in media very soon. Yeah, then it'd be a question of which version of him do you get, and that's a better conversation to have than will he even happen. So fingers crossed, right?
Yeah, Fabio.
No, same thing. He's definitely coming, but like Victoria said, which version are we getting? But there's no reason why at this point, with all the shows coming, that he shouldn't be made. So he's 100%, in my opinion, at least.
And for those of you watching and those in attendance around the world that don't believe that this will happen, this is what the Hot Toys Wizard says to you.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Come on. All right, Victoria, real quick. I know we got to go. What's going on Victoria's Cantina? Thank you for jumping on here today. Always a pleasure to have you on. Great to get your thoughts on that amazing Ahsoka. What's going on your channel?
Yeah, no, thank you, Aries. Always a pleasure. Fabio, great hanging out with you. Everybody in the chat that's been hanging out with us, thanks. And hit the like button. And yeah, so Victoria's Cantina is a YouTube channel. We do Cantina Cocktail Hour Fridays. We had one last night. I'm going to be off next week because I'm going out of town, but we'll be back right after that. So we're every Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific time. Aries, you were on the show a few weeks ago, and we had a blast there. Fabio, hopefully we can get you on one of these days too. We have the Cantina Chatter podcast, the Vintage Collection podcast. We just announced a couple of action figures. We partnered with Hasbro and announced these on Wednesday, a couple of Star Wars figures, which is a lot of fun. So I did a video for that earlier in the week. And yeah, we're just keeping it going with Star Wars. And there's a lot of content coming in. I'm really excited. We're going to be featuring more on the channel. Also on Instagram, Victoria's Cantina, on Twitter at Vic's Cantina. We're on TikTok and Facebook as well. So come hit us up. We're going to have a lot of fun, and looking forward to seeing everybody there.
Well, I'm looking forward to having you back in here as well. Victoria, I feel like you're becoming on a regular rotation here at 6 Scale Cantina. Always a pleasure having you in, and always a pleasure getting your amazing Star Wars and collecting insights.
Thank you so much.
And Fabio, listen, come on. Fabio Land, Unless you're going to tell me, listen, Aries, no, I'm going to call it Fabio World, then I'd be all in line. I've never seen a collection like yours, baby. What's going on?
Well, thank you as usual for having me. Thank you for the invite, Victoria. Nice being with you again. So what's going on in my channel? I'm gonna see if I could start doing some live unboxings. My thing is, I've been collecting for so long. I know what goes on YouTube. I know there's a lot of, the same things, same things going on, meaning like unboxings and stuff like that. So I don't want to just be another channel unboxing. So I'm trying to figure out a way of, make it fun for people to watch. So I think going live will help. But we'll see. I'm working on that now, so we'll see what happens. So hopefully soon.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun, guys. Glad we did the market show early today. It's a lot of fun. What's going on here at 6 Scale Cantina? First thing that's got to go on is you. Is it possible that you hit the like button? And I say, please do. Just pause in a minute, strike a pose, have your fingers down, hit the like button. And if this is the first time that you're watching 6 Scale Cantina, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Much appreciate your support. And make sure you also subscribe to Victoria's Cantina, Victoria right here, and also Fabio from Fab's Figures. Great channels. They're great friends of mine. This was an awesome time. When will I be live again? Tomorrow. You're going to have me again. You're with Sunday Coffee with Aries. We got a lot of stuff to talk about within the secondary market. I'm going to have Fabio with me again. I'm also going to have P-Rock for P-Rockzilla in the house. We're going to talk about some MMA stuff, and we are going to talk about the secondary market, so you don't want to miss that for sure. And of course, well, let's just stay with that. Let's get to the first show, Live and Raws on Monday, and we'll go on. But I will end with this. I don't always buy coffee out. And here it is. But when I do, I buy from 6 Scale Cantina. Stay thirsty, my friends.